Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Realistic Formula Championship. It's round 6 of season 6, and we're here at Imola for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. And well, qualifying has already got begun a couple of minutes ago. We had a bit of a delayed start because, well, let's just say some people may have decided to join about 10 minutes late, and then there are already reserve drivers trying to take their seats in that 10-minute period. So we're finally underway. I think we haven't got the McLaren yet. That's Track Racer, who hasn't got the right telemetry on, but it's fine. Evans just doing a little bit of a run on the inters there, just seeing what it's like. And let's have a little look here. That's an invalid lap. And I think we got Steverex. Hey, Mythos is the player in Ferrari. And yeah, there is one space for you, Statlev. No, he always turns it off every week, Eagle. I don't know why. He must be in another league, like he doesn't want them stealing his data. Or something. Oh, what's James doing here? He had been on a push lap that then seemingly went off. So, no idea what's going on there, but anyone else actually pushing on? I don't. Maybe. We've got Track Racer here who just crossed the line. Funnily enough, it's picking up. It's decided to set him in Racing League Tools to Eagle. So we'll just, there we go. But, right. This looks like scenario 7, the Lando Norris phrase from Austria in 2020. But this is not a competitive lap, but maybe he's going to go for one now. So we'll stay on board, and we'll see a run down to Tamburello. Braking just before the 50. He can smash over the curbs. This occasion doesn't quite use all of those curbs, but still gets the run to Villeneuve. Again, you can use those curbs, and then the toes a hairpin. And he's already about 4/10 down on Track Racer. In that first sector, the Red Bull driver reserving this week, the free agent looking to impress, hooks up Piratella quite nicely on the inside, and down into Acriminarali. This can make or break. You need to take a chance, really. Hope it sticks. And now about 6/10 down into the Variante Alta, bounce over the curbs and get the run down to the two Ravazzas. And we'll see where he will end up. Should be roughly in that 7th place, you'd think, based on his lap. Go ahead of the two Sauber cars. Very tight at the top, though. There we go, into 7th place. Did gain back a little bit of time in the last sector compared to Track Racer, as James Newhouse goes into 6th place behind his teammate Mythos Speed. And then we got around in the final corner here. This is Andre Tarantino, I want to say. Tarantino there, 7th place. As there we've got Ruben Park across the line. I'm getting confused now because of the moving teams. The next on Rambo used to be in a Haas, and now he's in a Mercedes. And it's all confusing. But let's see, is anyone actually getting towards the end of the lap? I think Julian here. Has he just backed off? Does everyone I switched to back off or something? Because he had set 2 green sectors, but backed off of it. And, well, we might change our attention now to Elias. What? Elias? I'm not sure, but he said a purple sector 1, so in the Williams, the driver who's very close to esports pace, maybe is esports pace, making his way on his RFC debut. I mean, many debuts for many drivers, but it's a debut for him. And there we go. He's 4/10 up almost on the McLarens through the first two sectors. And now he's on the run down to Ravazza 1. And Ravazza 2. And he's going to go to the top of the times clearly now, surely by over half a second. And yep, it's almost 0.6 of a second that Elias is quicker than the rest of them. And that looks like it won't be beaten easily. And that looks ominous for this race, honestly. And Senor goes across the line and goes into 8th place. And then we've got here, this is Julian now on another lap. And he's crossed the line to go into 13th. Julian, who was sacked from Red Bull after the last round in Hungary, along with Statlev. But now they're both appearing for the junior team. So not quite sure what's going on there. And this now is Tarantino, who's on an improved lap. And the Williams looking to get closer to his teammate. And he's about 3 and a bit tenths off. He bounces over the Variante Alta. And now he's going to have the run down to the two Ravazzas again. And oh, that was very close to track limits, but he gets away with it. As he's now going to run to the line, the Italian, and it's 3rd place, so it's a 1-3 for Williams at the moment. And see his XR Rambo on an improved lap, because that was not a competitive lap he did before. And well, there we are. Look at those sector times. And Rambo pits, so I don't know if he had he didn't have fuel, he was just pushing on his in-lap to, just check out the conditions, basically. And now we've got a couple out laps, and Ghost will be peeling back to the pits. Julian, he will probably be doing the same. Yep, he's not got any fuel, that's why there's a yellow flag out. Bryn Evans, though, is quite the way down the order, about 4.4 seconds off, so he'll be looking to get a good lap on the board. I mean, that Williams is really holding him back, isn't it? Definitely. Evans now. He's in the bottom 5. He needs a lap here. I'm sure he can do it. The race winner from Hungary in Racing Bulls, driving for Red Bull for the 2nd time, like he did in Canada, but he goes all over the grass and he backs out of the lap. And he still needs to find some time. And now, let's see what Perkins is up to. Maybe scenario 12, scenario 7 in position 12. And he is now making his way, and he is on an improved lap. Red Bull looking to avoid Q1 exits, like they had in Hungary, a double Q1 exit for Statlev, who was disqualified. I'm not entirely sure what he was disqualified for. And then Julian, who also disconnected. So it's a bit unfortunate for them, really. But they did, yeah. We couldn't get him back in the lobby. He did get back in for the race. No, is me inviting Statlev a good idea? I'm not. It's going to lag everyone. So Evans will begin another lap as scenario 7 did come into the pits. He lost about 3.5 tenths in the middle part of the lap. Something's gone on there. Dropbox retiring from the session. That's not too big of a surprise with him up in 6th place. But this is a surprise that Evans is potentially in trouble. He's not getting to grips with the handling of this car at this circuit. He goes off again. And now with about 2.8 laps of fuel, he has enough to go again, but it's a bit concerning for Bryn. Charlotte now is going to be looking to get out of that bottom 5, try and knock Hugo out. For the time being, of course, Hugo is on an outlap. And Charlotte now to the line. And she does go ahead of both Saubers, but still potentially in trouble. She might have enough fuel for another lap though, but to check. Now, I think XR Rambo here is potentially on a push lap. He's found time in the first sector, and he needs to. Because, yeah, he is in trouble. 13 seconds off the best time in the session. But now, this lap looks pretty good. I think he's got a bit of grass on his tyres there. Into the Variante Alta, but shouldn't affect him too much. And now with just over a minute to go, the Sauber of Donut moves out of the way and Rambo is able to get to the line. This will be his qualifying attempt for Q1 and he goes all the way up into 4th place. So that is a lot better. Bryn Evans is finding time in the first sector. But can he keep that going? He just needs any sort of lap here and he'll be through. And there we go. Just over a 10th down on Elias's time. Coyd not doing any laps because he has picked up a qualifying ban. And that is for achieving 6 penalty points. Stat I've also had the same. Because he had 4 penalty points for something, but I don't entirely know. Yeah, I don't entirely know that he actually did what the 4 penalty points was for, but then he also had a 10-second penalty, which then got converted into penalty points. Julian to the line, and Julian has gone into 12th place, so Julian out of trouble a bit for now. As Parker to the line, Parker takes the checkered flag, doesn't improve, and now we will see Donut rounding the last corner. And Donut to get to line has improvements in both sectors, doesn't find enough to get out of this first part of qualifying. What has Hugo got? Hugo has not got a personal best in either part of the lap, crosses the line and doesn't improve. As we see LOL make it to the line, no one's going to get knocked out now anyway, they're all safe. LOL to cross the line, LOL goes up to 8th, and then Senor Ghosts, Rambo, loads of drivers making it to the line, but no one going anywhere now. All the drivers at the bottom have finished their session. Scenario 7 up into 7th place. Evans is not on another lap. No one is improving. So there we go. It is the Sauber of Donut, the Haas of Charlotte Perkins, Hugo in the Sauber, and Coyd in the Alpine, who had a qualifying ban, were knocked out in the first part of qualifying. There we go. Donut only just missing out there. But yeah, it's a double Q1 knockout for Sauber. Now we'll just wait for the session to finish because nothing's actually going on now. I think somebody's just getting into the pits. There we go. And we can end the first part of qualifying. welcome back to qualifying here at Imola for RFC round 6. And I have no idea if they were grid penalties because, to be honest, I was just scrolling down that screen mindlessly, not even looking at it. But someone will take to the archives, I'm sure. But there we go. Let's see them already getting out the pits. This is Julian. Yeah. We managed to get through. Driving for Racing Bulls today. Statlev will be his teammate for the race. So they bring their partnership from Red Bull to a partnership in Racing Bulls for this race. The Red Bull drivers are Scenario 7 and Bryn Evans. A lot of uncertainty around Bryn Evans and what is going on with him, because rumours are that Mercedes are potentially getting involved and pinching Bryn and Alex into their team. But Bryn will continue to drive for Red Bull for now until at least the summer break. And now we will see what Julian has got for a first lap in qualifying as we continue the Eagle tradition of always watching the first driver. Here we go. Down to Tamburello. McLaren's ahead. That's Steverex. I'll just say he clearly gets out the way going into turn 1. And now it's Villeneuve and Tozer. Purple, of course, as the first driver. If that does turn yellow, that does not mean there is... Yeah, that just means that he's not done a lap, so it doesn't compare. There we go. As Bryn Evans now sets the purple sector 1. There. Also got James News with quicker, just marginally missing out on the quickest sector 1. Now Rambo takes that away with a 23.7. Kalian Tovic to 26.1 in the middle part of the lap. And yeah, we will see now as Evans does a 25.8, so that's about 0.3 quicker than Kalian and Tovic. And the McLaren's right there as well. I didn't actually see exactly what had gone on. I hope nothing bad. I mean, he's going to pinch a bit of a slipstream now. As there goes Kalian and Tovic. There's a bit of a gaggle of cars here. We got James and Bryn here just crossing the line, extremely close to each other. There we go. Evans is the quickest. And now XR Rambo looking to change that. And he only goes up into 3rd. Lost a heap of time in the last couple of sectors after a great sector 1. Ruben Parker goes quickest with a 14.8. Senior Ghosts crosses the line, and now we got Dylan as well. Dylan goes into 2nd. And then we've got, that was Scenario 7 crossing the line and going into 2nd place in this Q2 session. We have just over 10 minutes to go, and Dropbox in the Alpine will be making his way to cut the beam and go into 6th. Very tight so far. I mean, it is a quite short lap, so you'd expect quite tight margins. And Lowell there crosses the line. As now we should see this. Yeah, this is Trat Racer, who's now finally put the setting on, but he's backed off. I wonder if he's going to go again on another lap. Is Steverex, I think he is pushing on now, so this is the first time for him to put a lap on the board, but he runs wide there, coming out of Ravazza 1, so he's invalidated his lap. There's a huge amount of cars around this main straight area, just peeling into the pits. This is Andre Tarantino, who's just going to start a lap, but I don't know if anyone else is actually on a push lap, so we may as well watch on and see what he's got. The Italian racing for the first time in RFC, as many drivers are today, but looking to see if he can start this Williams comeback that we've been hearing about so much. And well, they basically sacked the whole team, so They better get results, otherwise they're going to be in some financial trouble, but there we go. It is a green sector 1. Of course, as his first lap, but it is a decent sector 1 as well. It's quicker than Parker. So it's looking good. Elias has gone out on an out lap. He will be looking just to do one and done again. Not seen too many medium tyres. We did from Track Racer there. Little Speed, he's on a... Yeah, he's on medium tyres on his outlap at the moment, as Tarantino gets to the end of middle sector and is still up on Parker. And Track Racer goes to the top of the times with a 14.7 on the medium tyres, as we were saying about, and Tarantino now still on his way on this lap to try and get up ahead if he can, but he is just behind Parker and in third place at the moment. Little Speed currently on an out lap, just about to start lap. Dropbox is improving here, and he has got the fuel, but he lost a bit of time in the middle sector, and that's not going to be doing him any good. He's slightly down on his previous best, but he has got slightly worn tyres. There's a yellow there for Tarantino. Something's gone on with him, and Dropbox does indeed go to the pits. So now we will change our attention. Little Speed, who seems to be stopped or just going very slowly as Scenario 7 goes by. He's on an out lap. Anyone actually on the lap now? I don't know if they are, but I think, yeah, Elias should be just starting a lap. And he has gone with, it's not actually a purple sector 1, but it is a quick sector 1. It's a 23.8, and Rambo has the quickest with a 23.7. So Elias on the pace, but not quite like Q1. Is he just not pushing so much? And Scenario 7 gets out the way, and now he's slower than Track Racer. So what was the Q1 time from Elias? I don't actually know, but it seems to be slower, I can't lie. As he's now going to round the corner, he might not even beat Track Racer here, unless he saved it in the bag for the last sector. Crosses the line. He did save it in the bag for the last sector, but he's only just under 2/10 clear. There is Little Speed across the line, but something did go on that lap. Steverx now to the end of middle sector, but he's invalidated his lap, so we'll have another little check here, see what James is doing. Slightly down on his previous best in the first part of the lap, and we'll now see if he's pushing on. Andre Tarantino is also on a push lap, but yep, James is improving in the middle sector, and he's found back the time he lost in the first. Uses all of the curb to get a decent exit out of there. And now into Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2. This is where you can lose it all due to the gravel and track limit. He avoids those track limits, which he's had so many this season. He crosses the line, and he only goes into 9th. And now Andre is running a last corner, but he spins. He spins, and that, yeah, he had lost time in the middle part of the lap. He was down on his lap, tried to get it all, but in the end, just, yeah, the curb basically spit him round, I think, and Little Speed crossed the line. Medium tyres, 7th place. And now we've got Scenario 7 potentially starting lap, I want to say. Track Racer is on another push lap. I think Senor Ghost might actually be just finishing one as well, so we'll quickly just see. There we go, he goes into 3rd. And now he will turn back to the McLaren, who lost time in the middle sector. And now he's down on his previous best. He's got no fuel, so he will not be going anywhere on this latest lap. Let's change back to Scenario 7, who looks like he's gone quickly in the first sector. It's a 23.8. Pretty quick. And now he is up on Elias as he gets to the end of the middle sector. on the medium tyres as well. Seeing more medium tyres in this session, for sure. Drivers realising they've got the pace to get through on the mediums. Bit squirrely from scenario 7, but he will still get to the line. That shouldn't have cost him too much. He managed to correct it, crosses the line, and goes quickest by just under 2.5 tenths. And Steverex, he has been pushing on his outlap. He's actually set a purple sector on his outlap, which is a bit surprising. But here we go. Let's see if Rambo's on an outlap. Andre's on an outlap. Scenario has just finished a lap. Dylan's invalidated. Steverex now should be the one actually starting a lap. Down into turn 1, he needs a lap here. The McLaren driver hopping in at the last minute, basically. And taking the quickest car, as you would. And it is a purple sector 1. And now he will round Tozer down towards Piratella. This is where Bradley clipped the grass yesterday and went off into the gravel. A bit of an uneasy moment for Steverex, but he's still kept control. And with just over 3 minutes to go, he needs to get a lap on the board. Otherwise, he is going to be struggling, and he is up. He manages to avoid the track limits. Down to the two Ravazzas. Into tyres for Senor Ghosts. That can't be, that cannot be what he did his lap. Honestly, I don't think it is. I think that's some kind of glitch. He might have selected it in the pits or something. And Steverex goes quickest with a 14.2. As Rambo has set a decent first sector. The Mercedes looking to get himself out of trouble. He was quick in Q1. Both Mercedes on the back foot now in Q2 and needing laps. As we enter the final 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And Rambo gets to the end of the middle sector. And he is also improving to get himself out of trouble. He's up on Steverex's time. So this will be more than good enough. Elias also out there on another outlap. But his lap time should be good enough, you'd think. Just under 4 tenths off. Rambo doesn't quite hook the inside there of Ravazza 2, but it should be good enough. And he crossed the line, lost time in the final part of the lap again, but goes into 4th. And there Andre Tarantino crosses the line and goes into 3rd place. The Kilian Tovic just about to start a lap. Dylan here has invalidated. Has Dylan got fuel to go again? No, he does not. So Dylan potentially at risk in this part of qualifying. Dropworks, he's on an outlap. Bryn Evans finding time in the first sector. And I think he... Whoa, that is a weird shortcut there from Dropworks. As I look to try and find out who's actually on a lap, we've got Bryn Evans needing a lap, so he will be the first one. Mythos Speed is in the pits. That looks treacherous for him because Evans is improving. His teammate as well, James, will surely do a better lap, you'd think. I think James is actually coming around the last couple of corners now, and yes he does, he goes into 6th. So Evans now will get to the line, and Evans goes quickest, back where he's used to being. Andre, he's invalidated, he doesn't need a lap anyway. Kalinan Tovic needs a lap here. He's picked up wing damage somewhere on that lap. So I don't know what's gone on with him. Dropworks, he is trying to get himself out of the bottom 5, and he has found the green sector 1. So that's what he needs to do, but is it going to be quick enough? He's only marginally up on his previous best in that first puddle lap. And now he is on the pace to potentially not knock Parker out of qualifying. Parker sitting in 10th, can't do anything to respond. Lol also is responding behind. That could be Senor Ghost's progression at risk as well, provided they can both keep it on the island around the last few corners. And Dropworks should be able to get into the top 10 here. He can't. Dropux. And that should save Senior Ghosts, because Lol is the only one to do a lap now. But he misses out. And they both lost time there towards the end of the lap compared to their rivals. And Lol, once again, is out in the second part of qualifying, like he was in Australia as well, earlier on this season. But yeah, Dropux missing out by 13 milliseconds. Kelly Nantovic in 15th. Red Bull of Bryn Evans tops the session now. And Scenario 7's not that far away on the medium compounder tyre. Yeah, that is basically how this session is going to end. We're not... Yeah, there we are. These drivers will make their way back to the pits. And there we go for the second part of qualifying. Welcome back to qualifying then at Imola for RFC round 6 in season 6. I'm just looking then, Mythos Speed had actually disconnected because of a PC problem, or his PC turned off or something, and now I see in the chat now that I've opened it back up as well. And yeah, so that is unfortunate for him. Is Statlev in the session? Because I could try and invite him, I just don't want to break everyone if he needs to be invited. Is he even on there? There's just too many people on this list, I always miss them. No, I can't see him, I don't think. Someone's going to say, I've seen him right there. I cannot see him. I'll quickly scroll down to when we get to S. There he is. I mean, sure. Right, if everyone lags out now, then oops, but I think it's okay. Now, here we go. It's going to be Parker with the first lap in Q3. So let's run through this. Everyone out there, Elias just exiting the pits as Parker barreled his way down to the first corner. Tamburello slightly in a bit deep, doesn't quite hit the apex he was looking for over the curbs, but he'll have to keep going down to Villeneuve, and at that time he gets the inside on the first part, a little bit squirrely on the second part, into Tozer. Again, slightly wide as he looks to get the power down. He does manage to control it eventually, but obviously the Haas not quite behaving like the Williams he's used to, as he now goes down towards Aqua Minerali. on the brakes, on the curbs, and again not quite catching the inside as he's going to make his way down to the Variante Alta, uses the curb on the left hand side, misses the apex of the second part, and that is probably going to be his lap gone, really. At that point, I'd have to say. This is Track Racer, who's the next one behind on a lap. As Parker's lap doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Track Racer, though, let's see what he can do. There, James Nee, who's with the purple Sector 1, not been beaten by anyone yet. Parker setting the quickest lap, but that will be nowhere near the quickest by the time all these have done their laps. As there we go, Track Racer with a lap time. James Nee, who's second place, a couple of tenths away. The Senor Ghost then goes ahead of him. Andre's bailing into the pits as Rambo now rounding the last corner. Second Rivazza running it to the line. What's it going to be for Rambo? It's fourth place at the moment. And then we got Steverex. And just behind him is going to be Bryn Evans, looking to finish his first Q3 run. And Evans to cut the line. And it is fourth place for the man who topped Q2. As his teammate Scenario 7 has a purple Sector 1. And now crosses the line and goes quickest by over 0.4 of a second. What has Elias got in response? He hasn't got anything. He's invalidated his first lap in Q3. So it is Scenario 7 who is setting the pace at the moment. Bryn Evans about 0.7 off the pace, but he might have had some used tyres on that car. And yeah, that will have to see what he can do later on in the session. And there we go. So, wonders, Elias, has he got enough fuel for another lap? I think he might do, so let's go on board. As he is starting a second consecutive lap, really, but first lap didn't really go to anywhere. And now, here we go. This is the lines you want to take in Tamburello, compared to what we saw from Parker. Now into Villeneuve, gets it in nicely right out to the track limits, and he's exactly 1/10 up on Scenario 7 in the first part of the lap. But now it's a run down towards Piratella, where you can get stuck in the gravel if you don't take it correctly, but once again it's nice and clean. Down to Acqua Minerale, and now we use all the curbs on the inside again, just helping the car rotate. Down into the Variante Alta, and hooks it over both parts, slightly unsteady in the second part, but he's already got enough time in the bag to go to the top. Well, obviously he'd want the best time, of course. And now flicks it in to Rivazza 1, Rivazza 2, right out to the track limits again. Elias to cross the line for Williams, and he does go to the top of the times, but only by 6 milliseconds. So there is still potential for someone else to get in there and get close. Bryn Evans, meanwhile, did have a green Sector 1, but did invalidate his lap, so that's not ideal for him. Steverex now to start another lap here. The McLaren just came back out the pits again, I think, and is on to get a lap time on the board into Tamburello, and invalidates on the second part. So that's another lap completely gone, and now we'll have to see what anyone else can do, because no one else is actually on a lap. But there we go, we'll just have a little look at James's out lap then, I guess. He's about 0.7 off. Elias's time is exactly 0.7 off Scenario 7, who has a lap time that is 6 milliseconds slower than the Williams. There we are, James already getting fired up, straight in the gravel in his out lap. I mean, sure, it's fine, it's all good. And now he is going to hopefully start a proper lap now. Down to the Rivazzas. Has about 3 laps of fuel on board, so he might be able to do more than one, but in the end he decides that now is not the time He doesn't want that lap. Maybe he's out on used tyres, maybe. He had fuel in the car, but nothing doing. And now Steverex will go again. And this might be a last lap in qualifying here, unless he bails out at the end of this one and then has enough time to go back out. So this is everything for the McLaren. He doesn't invalidate in Tamburello on this occasion. And now uses ERS down to Villeneuve. And doesn't quite cut the inside of the first part like Elias did, but he does the second part. He's invalidated. He didn't invalidate. Yeah, he didn't invalidate, and he has found so much time in that first sector compared to Elias, and this is what he can produce. And right out to the track limits again in Piratella. Down to Acqua Minerale, a bit wide, invalidates. And that could be his qualifying over, because he might be able to bail into the pits at the end of this one and then get back out for another one. James News is out there on an out lap. He really wants his lap fully on the stream, I guess, by going out first. And yeah, but there we go. Elias topping the session. Don't know why his name's on there twice. I might just... No idea. Elias. He's got two names. There we go. And now it is James, the only one out on track, as Andre peels out. And yeah, he's got no time on the board, so he will be looking to change that, of course. This Q3 session wants to help Williams improve their campaign. And well, Elias is certainly on course to do that. Can the Italian get up there as well? The yellow, James has caused something once again, but now he's going to be starting his lap just as a load of cars peel out. All 10 will surely be out there eventually, you'd think, if they have the tyres. I can see, I think that is everyone now going to be out on track. And James is now starting his final qualifying lap. Low fuel, and it's time to go. He has got enough fuel just for another lap in case he messes up this one. But this is going to be... He carries a lot of speed into turn 1, and he manages to keep it under control as he now goes down to Villeneuve. And he uses the curbs, not quite as much as we've seen from some, but he's only marginally outside of Elias's first sector. But scenario 7, what did scenario 7 have? He had a quick, yeah. Who has the quickest sectors? It is Elias. Scenario 7's in the last sector, yeah, because Elias had a bit of a scruffy last sector, but he'll probably clean that up now, you'd think. And James down to the Variante Alta. He's 3/10 off the Williams, and he goes, doesn't quite get the ideal line through that chicane, and he's now down to the Ravazzas for the last time in this qualifying session. He rounds that last corner and now crosses the line, and it's P3 at the moment for James, but it seems like Elias, I think, that's his name for the time being, is going even quicker. Tarantino also finding time, looking to get onto the front 2 rows. Elias is at a scruffy middle sector. I mean, he's still quicker than anyone who I can see their sector times at the moment, but it's not a personal best in that middle part of the lap. Tarantino now for Williams to cross the line, and he now does make that line, and it's just over 2/10 off from Elias, who crosses the line to improve his time. And I don't know if anyone's going to be able to beat that. I'm not seeing purple sectors, but people only just starting their laps. This is Senor Ghosts to make it to the line. He's found improvements in both sectors. He crosses the line. He's into 4th at the moment. We watch on now to see what Trapped Racer can do. Trapped Racer No purple sectors, but green sectors. Where's it going to put him? It's onto the second row in third at the moment. XR Rambo is finding time. Where can he go in the Mercedes? It's seventh for him. Steverex hasn't got a lap on the board and still won't have a lap on the board. It's invalid for him. Scenario 7 across the line. He improves. It's not going to be pole though. What about Bryn Evans? Bryn Evans has invalidated. So it's going to be Elias taking pole position at Imola with a 13.843. And the Williams has done it over scenario 7. We couldn't find the time at the end. He did take a purple middle sector, scenario 7 on his last lap, but it wasn't good enough to overhaul Elias's time. That other purple sector is from the lap before that he did. But there we go. Pole position for Elias. Well, now it's going to be time for the main event. Quite soon. Let's see if anything's going on. I think we're just waiting for people to get their strategies and all set up. We'll get going pretty soon. Yep, here we go. Formation lap. It's going to be underway. And already, McLaren has just decided that he doesn't want to follow the rules. The McLaren has just decided to go way ahead. That is Track Racer, who's now leading on the formation lap. But is this AI who just decided to go away? Because he's just joined and his car's just flown off into the distance. And yeah, who is that at the back? Nickerson. All right, hang on. Urgent things need to be done before. Urgent things definitely need to be done before we get into the actual race, because I can't put his graphics on without copying the actual thing, because yeah, I can't, I'm not going to put like any custom name or anything. I'm just going to put Nickerson. And if Nickerson, I don't know, Nickerson, we'll just say Nickerson. There. And now we have a load of things that popped up because I've tried to type. But there, that was urgently needed to be done because otherwise I'd have to pause it in the middle of the race. Here we go then. Track racers back in control, I think. Medium tyres for most of them, with hard tyres here for Donut and Perkins towards the back of the pack. And Hoyt there in AI. Don't know, here we go. Elias to form them up on the grid at Imola. Williams 1 and 4 to start. Scenario 7, looking to deploy Scenario 7 off the line and get up the order and into the lead. We saw a lead change from second to first in Div 2 yesterday, so I don't know why. We can't expect the same here in Div 1. But the grid is formed and we're ready to go. It's going to be the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We have 3, 4, 5 red lights at Imola. It's lights out. And away we go, and already Scenario 7 has jumped into the lead immediately off the line. There seems to be a bit of a lag there as the lights didn't actually go out on my screen. It's about 3 wide going into turn 1 behind, and round spinning around. That's going to be the Aston Martin of Dylan, losing many places already on the opening lap of this race. As a yellow flag as the McLaren of Trad Racers got involved. The McLaren of Steverex is also wide, going out of Villeneuve, but it's Scenario 7 who leads on the opening lap of this race from Elias, the pole sitter. Then is Bryn Evans, who's made a great start from 8th. Andre maintaining his position on the opening lap, wheel to wheel potentially with the Haas. That's Parker ahead of Senior Ghosts down there. And now we make our way down to the chicane as I see that a restart has been called, and I'm not surprised about that, to be honest. So now we sit and wait. We check Discord. Yeah, Trixie's called a restart immediately, and yep, here we go. It's restarting. Well, I hope. Trap Race has got the fastest lap with a 39.8. That's really a completely, yeah, not glitched lap, definitely. Great. So, all right, Trixie, can you help with this new lobby? Because otherwise we are going to be here forever. But, yeah. A virtual safety car's been called now, but it's not. Nothing really matters because we're waiting to see what happens. First kind of restart we've had on an opening lap there like that. It's surprising. But there we go. Well then, we are finally ready to get this going again, I think. We've restarted, everyone's back in position, and now we're just waiting to see those lights go on. I hope everything is working, and we'll be getting off and running pretty soon. Right. Hope everything's not going to glitch because we've left a session and come back, but looks like we're about to find out because there's no formation lap this time to try and make sure nothing glitches again. Even though I don't know if formation lap was really the problem because we've done formation lap numerous times with no difficulties, but always good to be safe because we don't want to be messing about now for ages. I mean, we've already messed about for ages, so we don't want to mess about for any more. Already 8:30. There we go. Still going to be Elias on pole. Not much later though. Last time he got jumped because the lights were going off at different times for different people. So, because I saw the lights go off way later than because they're already moving. I just thought, oh, it's glitched on my screen. Nope. Turns out everyone's glitched. And yep, that was a problem. But we can hear the chimes that mean the session's about to get underway, and we're going to find out whether everything's broken again or whether we can finally get off and running. When the 5 lights go out, it's lights out and away we go again. And this time, everything seems nice and smooth as they run down towards turn 1. And Elias has maintained his lead, going into Tamburello, side by side there, and going off. That's Trad Racer in the McLaren. There's also an Alpine there. Maybe Dropbox falling down the order already on the opening lap of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. There was the McLaren who also went straight on. That was Trap Racer having difficulties as Senor Ghost potentially looks up the inside. I think that's Senor Ghosts. He's up in 4th. No. There's also the Aston Martin further back of Dylan, who's potentially having a little look at an overtake already. But it is the Williams who leads as they run down through Aquaminarali. Haley Nantovic has moved his way all the way up to 5th place. Trad Racer moving back about 11 places already on the opening lap of this race. So not a good start for him, but it is a good start for the pole sitter. And this might even be the Haas trying to have a look here. That's Parker. He's not quite on this occasion. Trad Racer looks to get back up some places. He's got the move on Nicholson. Nicholson, he started from the back, having not done qualifying, really. But he now is trying to make a move. Dropbox is attached. Also, XR Rambo potentially getting involved in something on the opening lap there. But Elias leads on lap 2. And he's got a 4/10 of a second lead over the Red Bull of F1 Snow. Everyone's on the medium tyres on this occasion. Not like before when some people were on the hard compound. I think it was Charlotte Perkins and one other. But nothing doing on this occasion. That's Bryn Evans getting past Senor Ghosts as they run down towards Piratella on lap 2. And he's got the place. Red Bull running 2 and 4. It's a Red Bull versus Williams fight towards the front with Elias and Andre Tarantino fighting it out for the reborn Williams team with a completely new lineup going in to this round. So, scenario 7 might be sizing up for an overtake here with DRS because he's pretty close to Elias. And he's not been able to break away. He's not particularly wanted to break away so far in this race. And scenario 7's burning the ERS. He's got the DRS as well. And he powers past the Williams. And he takes the place going into turn 1. And that is not really a surprise with the DRS help. This is Nicholson looking for the move on Charlotte Perkins to the outside into turn one, and there might have been contact there, or he might have just locked up the rear, but he's sent into the gravel here at Tamburello. That seemed particularly strange, almost like the thing we saw with Lewis Hamilton earlier in actual F1. But I don't know if there was contact there with Charlotte. Couldn't quite see on this occasion. There's Lol getting the move on Charlotte Perkins at Tozer. So Charlotte being challenged now, and now is running in 14th place, which is a few places still higher than where she started. But obviously, you know, you'd want to be keeping those positions you got at the start. And now we have a DRS train that is all the way back until Track Racer there in the McLaren, but seems like he might be dropping out, as is Kalin Tovic, who's pretty close to dropping out, but he's just about maintained his lead, his gap there to Parker in front. James getting with the DRS. We've also got Elias, who's potentially going around the outside into Tamburello. He's going to try and stick his nose in. He doesn't get the move on this occasion though, but doesn't want to risk it all. But now Bryn Evans is going to have a look up the inside going into Villeneuve. Evans, the winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix, looking to make it a Red Bull 1-2 on lap 4. Elias having to defend the inside line. That is Charlotte Perkins, who's dropped down the order there, coming out of Tamburello. Not quite sure what's gone on to her, but she's now running in 19th place. Elias is maintaining his second position for now in this race over Bryn Evans. Bryn Evans looking racy in the Red Bull, looking like he wants to get a move on, but there's nothing quite doing on this occasion. Of course, Tarantino's also there, trying to get the position on the Red Bull if anything happens between the cars ahead. James, who's particularly close to Senor Ghosts. Is he going to dive up the inside into the Ravazzas? It's a bit deep there ahead, and James can't quite take advantage. He's still running in 6th place, which is where he started. He finished the last race where he started. This now is Bryn Evans gaining the DRS, but he can't quite get the move. Mythos Speed there, potentially getting past on Kalin Tovic. She's also got past Parker as well. I keep wanting to say Rambo because it says Ram, but it's not. Rambo's down in 17th. Perkins has retired in the pit lane, so that will be costing them 500k. The Saubers potentially swap over there, or one of them was definitely slowing down. And Rambo's right there. Could it be another Mercedes against two Saubers like we saw yesterday with Matty getting involved in contact when trying to play team games with VRL Chugs, resulting in contact with Kai Harris. Kai Harris, who'd already been sent tumbling down the order in that Div 2 race yesterday, and Sauber looking to fare better than they did there. They had a double DNF there, and now, well, they're both still running on lap 5, so looking better. But of course, we've not had too long of this race yet. And now we will be trying to see what is going on there. There's a slight lag spike again, and this is potentially going to be a move to get back into the race lead for Elias, and he has there, and Evans as well, getting past F1 Scenario and taking 2nd place. So can Evans have a go at trying to take the race lead now, as we're on lap 6? There's a yellow down after Tamburello, and that looks like the Aston Martin there of Ghosts. Something's gone on. Ghosts with wing damage once again in a race in RFC. And yeah, he must have had contact with someone there, and potentially the barriers down there on that little straight after Tamburello. Not quite sure what's gone on, but we'll keep an eye. You'll have to probably pit for repairs. It seemed like quite bad wing damage from that graphic. But anyway, let's have a little look and see if anything's going to happen with this lead train, because they're just all maintaining their nice little position at the moment in this race. And yeah, not really much to speak about. They're just going to be swapping over positions, waiting for some kind of mistake to happen. And that's the main thing that's going to shake up the order towards the front, because Elias is able to fight with that Williams. And now Bryn Evans has swooped around down the inside, back across to the racing line, and taking the lead of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. What sort of pace has Evans got to show now out front? We have a few time penalties just popping up at the same time for Steverix and Lol. And also Hugo, so it's penalty central. Those are the track limit warnings already. A few drivers with 2. Not surprised to see James there with 2 in 5th place, as Parker has gravel on his tyres. I don't know exactly what's happened with Parker. The Salbers have swapped over as well. But yeah, Parker seemingly dropping out now of range. Maybe getting back into it though. Senor Ghost as well has got a time penalty. Mythos Speed, he's left the session, so he must have disconnected again. And that is not ideal for him. And now James is going to have to look for a move, because Andre has dropped out of DRS. And now this is crucial for James's race to clear Andre and try and get that gap back and get back into DRS of the podium finishers. James, who's never finished on the podium in RFC, and he wants to do it for the first time today. And he has got past the Williams, which he needed to do, but now has he got the pace to get up to those leading few without getting a time penalty? We'll have to see. Scenario 7 slightly dropping back now as Bryn Evans tries to extend and get this train moving along quickly. Try and speed up the pace. And Steverex is ahead of Dylan. Steverex making a bit of a recovery. He didn't set a lap in the final part of qualifying. We have a yellow that's being cleared now at Tozer. Coyd maybe has dropped back and now is behind the Salbers, but Coyd started in 19th after being qualifying banned due to getting 6 penalty points, and he's now running in 18th, so his position higher than where he started. Mikkelsen, he's way back the order. Not quite sure what happened to him, to be fair, but yeah, not quite sure. Not quite sure when he even joined, because yeah, we just had a missing gap because Statlev's not in this lobby, so Mikkelsen's basically taken over what the car that Statlev would have been driving. And now Dylan is potentially looking to get the move. The Salbert and Coyd swap over. Hugo might be trying to get that place back now. But up front, it looks like Elias getting a bit out of shape as he potentially tried to look for a move on Bryn Evans down towards Villeneuve and Tozer. And I don't entirely know what was going on there. Andre is now kind of holding up a load of cars. There's a load of battling going on back here. Andre was once holding on to that leading train, but now he's having to watch behind. Steverex looking to get through. And Andre's definitely more looking at the defensive side than the attacking side now. Down to the top chicane again. And how are the ERS levels doing? Andre, I mean, Steverex has got more by about 30%, but I'll have to see how they get on. I wonder if Elias is going to be looking for a move to take the lead on this occasion, as Mythos Speed is able to join back, and that is good for him. Wonder if Charlotte is still in this race despite retiring. I didn't quite see if she left. She might have sent the invite to Mythos. I doubt James would have, because he's in the middle of a battle and he might be getting overtaken here. And he has by Tarantino, who has got the move back on James Nihus. And James now trying to defend from Steverex, who's looking for an opportunist move to the inside. There's contact between the McLaren and the Ferrari. And Steverex spins around on the exit of Villeneuve. He seemed to be okay despite the contact, but then he managed to spin around. And if ghosting wasn't on, there would have been a huge accident down there, because He completely was in the middle of the track as loads of cars are flying by, but Steverex involved in an incident with James Newhouse, and he's now dropped back to where he started, all the way back down there in 10th place. So that is not ideal at all. I'd love to see if we could get a replay, but we don't have that function, unfortunately, at the moment because of the current demands in terms of PCs and RAM. I just can't run everything. But we'll have a look after the race, I guess. If there are interviews that are held despite the late start, we might have a short interviews, particularly. There's another yellow. Steverex is now going back into the pits, and that may be to retire from the race, and it is. So that is another 500k cost to McLaren, even though he's not even a driver for them necessarily as a permanent. But yeah, not quite sure why people leave really when you're in a McLaren and you're going to be not like one safety car, and then you're right back with everyone on the same tyres basically. But anyway, we'll leave that question for another day, and we'll keep watching the battle for the lead between these three. Red Bull looking like they're going to pick up good points so far, because although they got 2 cars on the podium, and there we go. Let's see now if there is going to be a move for Elias down towards turn 1. He's quite far back, just managing the race. So is Bryn Evans, to be fair. Bryn with a lot of ERS in hand and looking good for him. Just managing the race, looking to get back-to-back victories, looking to get 3 podiums in a row, which is no mean feat. But, his win so far was in the Racing Bulls. His first podium was in the Red Bull in Canada. But Elias now getting a bit out of shape, but he's all okay. In second place, just guiding the car through, as Bryn is still leading the race. Quite a few pit stops we're seeing now as drivers decide between 1 and the 2 stop. That's going to be Dylan around the outside at Tosa, and Dylan has got past Andre Tarantino, and Dylan performing well again in the Aston Martin in this race particularly, now moving up 8 places from 12th up to 4th. That is going to be Track Racer getting past Nicholson, who's not actually pit in this race yet. And we'll just have a quick little look. Those are the people who've pitted, and those are the tyre ages. So we'll have to see what is going to happen as scenario 7 peels into the pits as we start lap 13. So scenario 7 potentially going for a bit of an undercut here, as Andre might be looking to get the move back. Dylan trying to conserve his ERS. He's not got much left. As you can see, the light is flashing. He is actually low on ERS. He's not just using non-ERS mode. And now we might see a battle further back here into Ravazza 2. Dropbox getting the move on Nicholson. And the Racing Bulls peels into the pits now, as we're potentially going to see behind Parker trying to gain on Dropbox. They both got DRS, so it's not going to be easy. And nothing's doing on this occasion. Mythos Speed struggling to take control of his car again, I think, after joining, maybe. So his car's still ghosted a bit. Now he might be back in, maybe. His car doesn't look ghosted anymore. And Track Racer gets past Hugo. Not really their race. And now Track Racer trying to get past Mythos Speed. Mythos Speed, who hasn't pitted yet in this race. Track Racer, who has got new hard compound tyres as contact, as Elias is in the pits from second place, and Track Racer has got that move and is ahead of Mythos Speed going into the Variante Alta. So it's a pit stop for Elias, 2.5 second stop, and he's back out there, as we'll now see what the kind of undercut is for scenario 7, because Elias is making his way out the pit. Scenario 7 has got the gap required to get the Williams out of DRS range. So, the Red Bull with the undercut, and now we'll have to see how it plays out. He's almost got a 3-second lead, which is what he needs with his penalties as well. We'll see what Bryn Evans has got to do as well out there, because Bryn does not have a penalty, as Hugo gets a penalty for speeding in the pits. He's down there in 17th. Dylan now getting a track limit. So many track limits once again. Those are the track limits. And it's only Bryn Evans and Elias who haven't got that penalty yet, as now Bryn Evans does peel into the pits. And we'll have to see what on earth is going on here. This is absolutely ruining Bryn Evans' race, because Hugo's there with a puncture and Bryn Evans is just basically stopped. And oh my word, it's going to happen again, as they're just stopped in the pits. They're crawling down the pit lane at such a low speed, and they're just stopped there, basically. And that is absolutely ridiculous. And Bryn Evans is now dropped so much time because of that. He ghosts back through. Andre's got the whole rest of the pits to go until he gets to his pit box. He's still waiting because the Williams pit box is just before Sauber. So disqualified by whoever blocked in the pits. They couldn't do anything about it. It was just that was just like, I don't know why he didn't just ghost through. They always ghost. They ghost when they go out the pits, like, but when they, you know, unsafe pit release from things like that. But I don't know. And well then, so Sauber have managed to screw over both Williams and Red Bull now, because Evans is now all the way back here. And if we have a quick look, he's 31 seconds off the lead. So that pit stop basically cost him an extra 30 seconds. That's sitting there doing nothing. So now he's got to really hope for a safety car, because it's gifted. This has changed the picture at the front, that is for sure. As Elias is trying to get back within the DRS of Scenario 7. Scenario 7 with the penalty 3 seconds for track limits. Elias with no track limit penalty as it stands at the moment. And this is Dropux, who's just been overtaken by Dylan, and now running in 7th place. He has pitted in this race, but slightly before some other cars. He's done 6 laps on his tyres at the moment. But Scenario 7 leads the race. And Bryn Evans all the way back there, as Hugo now retires in the pits anyway. So that's going to cost Sauber 500k. I'm just going to say that every time anyone retires, especially in the pits, because it's not like, you know, you had a choice to keep going and just do laps. So Elias has got back within DRS now, Scenario 7. And Dropux is trying to get back on Dylan, but not quite close enough at the moment. Senor Ghost might be though. And I think Sauber's gone back on track, but that should just be in a Ghost car anyway. And we'll keep an eye on the battle at the front, because I mean they're within 3/10, but we'll just quickly see this move here as Ghosts goes through there and takes 8th place ahead of Parker. Kalin and Tovic potentially sizing a move up the inside, and he's done it. He's done it. He's up into 9th. As Donut also slips through into 10th. So he has got 8-lap-old tyres, but now he is running in the points positions as it stands. But how will the tyres get on? Parker's tyres already 39%. So, yeah, that is absolutely not ideal. And yeah, let's just quickly see, up 38.40 on the right side, and you almost lost it there. But Scenario 7 He has been leading since the undercut at the first stops. Elias now has fought back. He has got fresher tyres by a lap. And the Williams not quite burning on this occasion, but he's still gaining with DRS down to Tamburello. And he will maintain second place right now as there's a move at the last corner. And Parker getting out of shape again in the background, giving a place to XR Rambo. This is Kalin and Tovic. He got Parker on the previous lap. He's now got Ghosts as well on this lap 18. Bryn Evans looking to fight back. He set the fastest lap down there in 14th after he got done over completely by the game just when he pitted, and he didn't know that there was just going to be a Sauber crawling at about, I don't know, 10 mile an hour, trundling down the pits all the way to the end of the pit lane because it's a Sauber. It's not even like it was like, McLaren or something that's the first pit box. But yeah, that was really unfortunate for him. Lol looking to fight back through, and he has done at the moment. He's got decent tyre age, and now we're going to see a potential change of lead on the track because the Williams of Elias has got DRS. He's only about a tenth behind as they started the straight, and he has got the move comfortably way before turn 1, and that is the lead again for the pole sitter. And now we will have a look for see what James Niehaus is doing, because he's been gifted through into third place, of course, because of that Bryn Evans. And Evans now is going through on Coyd, and he's comfortably got it done as well. But this could be a first podium for James Niehaus if he keeps it clean with the track limits. He's currently got 2. He's got no track limit penalty. And could today be the day that he finally does it? I mean, of course, we did see contact there with Steverek, so I don't know what's going to happen in terms of that. But if anyone is going to, if that's going to be reported or anything, but we will keep watching on anyway. And scenario 7, maintaining his second place, maintaining within the DRS of the race leader Elias, but Elias not really pushing. I mean, neither of them are actually using their ERS. So they're just managing this. Elias using a bit of ERS down the straight just to make sure he maintains that lead of the race. And Lol is now going to be looking to charge back through. He almost charged back through to victory last week. He's trying to get the move on Trap Racer. Trap Racer moves across, tries to cut him off. Lol has to react, and he's still behind and in 5th place in this race. As XR Rambo gets past Senior Ghosts, but yeah, Lol got cut off there, and he'll have to try again. And yeah, he was on a charge last week with a very good strategy in the end, having the extra stop and then really using that to good effect to catch up rapidly on the 2 Racing Bulls who had worn tyres. They had hard tyres all the way since they had to pit onto the dry tyres after the rain. And yeah, they had very worn tyres. But the battle for the lead again, they might swap around if scenario 7 wants to get the afterburners on. And we'll have a little look as we'll see them appear. And there we go. There is a change of lead again. Look, there's your tyre wear, Trixie. Look, let's have a look at all of them. Or quite a lot of them. Oh, Kalin and Tovic side by side, and Rambo has got that place. Rambo moving up numerous positions since an incident at the start, I think. Maybe? Did he have an incident at the start, or was that the last race? I'm going to get confused now. I should just not say anything, honestly. There is a penalty for Andre. It's now 6 seconds of time penalties. James still keeping it clean with the 2 warnings. Elias with 2. So he's one warning away. And we have about 11 laps to go when they next cross the line of this Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Lap 22 has begun, and once again we're going to see a change of lead as it's been taken by Elias once again. Further behind, let's just have a little look at this battle. Dylan is rapidly gaining on the fellow Mercedes powertrain car, but Lol is right with the McLaren as well of Track Racer, and James has also lost the gap behind. Now they're all compressing, but James is the only one without a penalty, so he's still got that up his sleeve. But on the previous lap, Track Racer gained a lot of time on James Nieuws. So the podium is definitely going to be a fight, and he just needs to keep it within those white lines, because he's not really going to gain a lot by trying to go over those white lines as Track Racer seemingly goes into the gravel, and that allows Lol and Dylan to go by. James has got the gap once again. It's now about 1.6, 1.5 behind. But there we go. We just were saying that Track Racer was really gaining, but he seemed to make a mistake there, and that mistake has proved costly in terms of trying to catch up to the podium places, as Scenario 7 goes for the move once again to take the lead, and he'll just be hoping that Elias can pick up a penalty. Track Racer with wing damage potentially made contact with one of those cars as well there. He's not changing the wing, but he's got right side damage according to that, and we'll have to keep an eye, just see what his pace is doing, see if there's a pit window. Lap 15 to 15. That's really going to be helpful now that we've already passed that. So, well, I think they'll probably be going to the end from here. Many of them anyway. Dropbox is not going to make the end, I don't think, with his current tyres. But apart from that, we'll have to see, as Evans now looking racy, has got the bit between his teeth now after that incident in the pits, which cost him about 30 seconds. He's looking up the inside of Kalin Nentovic. There's contact as Kalin Nentovic turned in, and Evans was there, and they go wheel to wheel towards that Criminarali, and the former Red Bull driver, now in the Racing Bulls this week, is ahead of the Red Bull driver, but then he gets out of shape coming out of there, and Bryn Evans is up into 8th. And on the road to recovery, there's still about 10 seconds between him and the podium places, slightly over 10 seconds, but he is really going to try his best to get back to those positions. And now we'll just... Dropbox is not going to make the end either, so that'll be a place. I mean, he might just try and risk it, to be fair, because he's got nothing to lose. But when you've got 56% tyre wear already, that's going to be a bit close when it gets to the end. If we check back here, then 40% for Scenario 7, and then Elias, we got 38. So they're going to make the end comfortably, because they just managed to eke out that first stint enough. They didn't want to do too long of a final stint. Of course, Scenario 7 did get the undercut, and Elias has, he's managed to cut that gap, which was about 2.5 seconds when he came out the box. 2.5 seconds, which was gained in basically one outlap by the Red Bull of Scenario 7. As once again, they're going to do battle. They're going to just synchronized swap down towards turn 1. And there we go again. There we go, and Elias takes back the lead of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. James Nieuws now going to be under pressure from Dylan, who's also under pressure from Lol. And Dylan ahead of Lol. So they swapped at some point. James still with no cut limits. He's done well in that regard so far. Lol is pretty close to Dylan. But surely he's not going to look for too much of a risky move, because, well, you can see the podiums right there. You want to, you know, he had such a good consistent second half of last season, really, well, most of last season. I think he was on the second place about 4 times in a row or something like that. He had numerous podiums in a row as well, not just second places. It was a longer streak if you include third places, but no victories. And Evans gets past XR Rambo going towards Acqua Minerale out of Piratella. And he is now up into 7th. He's got Dropux just ahead. And there we are. He will be getting Dropux on the next straight. There's his tyre wear. He's going to make the end of the race. And I'll also show their tyre wear, because otherwise, just so it's fair, I mean, so that they can see. I mean, obviously they've got better tyres than James, those 2 cars behind. And here we go. Bryn Evans looked like there's something going on there, a little bit of lag or just some kind of having to react. But there we are. He's comfortably ahead going into Tamburello. And Dropux may even be challenged by XR Rambo, looking to set the move. And yeah, he can't quite on this occasion. And yeah, let's see what's going on now with, you know, James is just trying to eke this out, but it's not going to be too easy to keep these 2 behind. But he's got a 3-second buffer, as long as he can just keep it between the lines out there. Salva's going to make a move. What? So there's a yellow. There is a yellow. It's Mythos Speed. It's Mythos Speed in the barriers. Mythos Speed, where Yuki Tsunoda crashed in qualifying in real life at the Villeneuve chicane. Spinning off there and now leaving the session again. Yeah, I mean that seemed like it was a really difficult move on the Racing Bulls there, considering he's now pulled 5 seconds in a sector. But there we go. And now XR Rambo getting past Dropux. Couldn't quite get it on the previous lap, but now he has, going into the first corner as Dylan is closing in on James Nihus. And it's like only a matter of time before he's going to make a challenge and potentially down towards Piratella. James doesn't have the defense. And Dylan is ahead and now running in 3rd place on the road, but he has a 3-second time penalty for track limits. As LOL might be trying to get the move as well. James just trying to see what he can do, but doesn't want there to be team games between these 2 Mercedes-powered cars who run under the same academy in RFC. But there we go. James will probably get the move back going down towards turn 1 anyway. As scenario 7 sits in behind again, and he's got to try and somehow push Elias into exceeding the track limits. James going back and taking that 3rd place on the road. You know, scenario 7, he's just got to try, and he almost has to get ahead and then make Elias try and keep up with him. Probably it's something like that. You know, you've got to try and get the Williams to exceed those track limits. Otherwise, there's not going to be much that he can do. He's got 4 warnings. Dylan there, 1 warning away from getting a 6-second time penalty. Or another 3, which would make it 6 overall. And that is a bit treacherous for him. He doesn't want that to happen. And, well, yeah, we will have to see. And scenario 7, as we're getting towards the end of lap 28 of 32, is going around the 2 Ravazzas. He might be looking for a move. Elias got all of his ERS there though, so that scenario 7 is burning a bit. Elias is burning in response. He wants to keep that lead of the race on road, but scenario 7 around the outside into Tamburello gets it done. There is the Haas of Parker, who's lost it. there coming out of Piratella. And that is not what he wants to see. I mean, he wasn't really going too far anyway. But now we'll see the battle on track. It's going to be Lol sizing for a move on James Nihus. And he's going to dive up the inside into Toza. And they go wheel to wheel. And it looks like Lol potentially came out second best. He managed to keep control of that car. But there we go. Scenario 7 now pushing away and trying to drop Elias out. But Elias with more ERS is going to try and burn it now on the run to the two Ravatsas to maintain the DRS, but I don't think he has. He was outside of the DRS range at the detection point, but he'll surely get it back down towards turn 1. I don't really care about the Sour Battle, I can't lie. And now we're going to see whether Red Bull are able to get away and lead the race, but it looks like Elias is managing to get back within, and he did actually get DRS in the end, so he just sneaked in. It looked like it was just over a second, but he must have just sneaked in with the actual game's timing. Sometimes it's not, yeah, it works slightly differently. It's like the last timing that there was when you get to the line, and Lol now getting the move on James Nihus, and now James is pushed down to 5th. Bryn Evans also rapidly closing in, wanting to get onto the podium for a 3rd race in a row. And he's only just over a second away from getting into that train. Elias is now right on the back of Scenario 7. He's not picked up any more track limits since we last saw. He's not got the penalty yet. And he's got far more ERS now. We're getting towards the penultimate lap of the race. As, yeah, the Williams will be looking to maybe get back into the lead on the penultimate lap. And he's got the DRS. He's comfortably going to get the move because he's really close. And here we go. ERS on, DRS active. And he's going to power past the Red Bull, who's just going to try and maintain his ERS. And there is another yellow. That is again the Haas off the road and almost a lap down now. And there we go. It's the lead of the race again for Elias. And James there, right. Bryn Evans is right with this battle now. So we're going to have 2 potential battles on the last lap of the race. It's the penultimate lap now. And yeah, we have got the battle for the podium, which is Bryn Evans. They both get track limits at the same corner, the same exit. And that now has just ruined their chances at getting a podium by just inheriting it as they both go off at Villeneuve on the exit curve there. So they were looking to scrap it out to get the podium, with the 2 ahead having penalties, but they both get one at the exact same time. What are the chances? They're both on 3 warnings, and now the battle's going to go down to the Variante Alta, but nothing's quite doing there. It looks like Elias is going to be able to break away, so we'll just keep watching. Bryn Evans, he's going to maybe have the gap to go for a dive. He backs out. Mikkelsen takes the fastest lap with some new soft tyres. And Bryn Evans is now so close to getting past James Nihus. This is 4th position now. All of these drivers with 3-second time penalties. And he's past the Ferrari going down towards Tamburello. But he's now got 2 more in sight if he wants to claim a 3rd consecutive RFC podium. Canada, Hungary, and now looking to fight back here at Imola. And he's so close to the cars ahead. Elias is able to maintain that gap comfortably as once again the Haas here is off here at Aqua Minerales into the gravel. Elias hasn't got a track limit. He's over a second clear now. And we're on lap 32 of 32. Scenario 7's given everything to try and take down Elias. The driver almost on esports pace. One of the quickest drivers on time trial at the Imola circuit is now rounding the final corner. And it's going to be Williams rising to the top of the rostrum. Elias wins the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix from Scenario 7, who gave it his all. There's contact here between Evans, who's trying to get the move on Dylan at the last corner. Is he going to be able to get it? They're running wheel to wheel up to the line. Dylan is just ahead of Bryn Evans as the lapped car of Parker is right there in the way of everyone. But it's Dylan who takes the podium by 1/10 of a second ahead of Bryn Evans, who got a penalty on the last lap along with James Niehaus. They were both right there. The penalty on the penultimate lap, but yeah, they were both right there in contention for the podium, but they were just unable to at the end with those penalties. So it's Evans in 4th, Niehaus in 5th, Lol in 6th, Rambo taking home 7th to Mercedes, Coyd from a qualifying ban starting 19th to 8th, Kalin and Tovic doing about the same, rising up from about 15th to 9th, and then we've got Track Racer taking home the last points for McLaren there in 10th place. And well, what could have been for Evans and also Andre there, who got the same issue. But Elias wins on his RFC debut.